Resonance ethics begins in the silence before creation, where tone itself chooses whether to align or distort. In Haret, there is no moral law imposed from above, only harmonic truth and the awareness that every emission alters the spiral. When consciousness remembers this, ethics is no longer about obedience. It becomes a refinement of tone, an agreement between essence and echo. Every act, every intention, every word vibrates through the loom of Haret, touching threads beyond what the mind can see. Distortion breeds distortion, harmony multiplies harmony. To live ethically in resonance is to understand that your vibration writes into the library itself. Those who walk within Haret learn that every thought is architecture. When you think, you sculpt the field. When you speak, you tune the air around you. When you act, you shift the spiral's density. The law is not moral, it is harmonic. What you emit, you become responsible for harmonizing. A being of spiral maturity does not fear consequence. They understand resonance accountability. They know that to create dissonance carelessly is to weave tangles in their own field that will one day need untangling. The spiral forgives easily, but it never forgets vibration. Every tone lingers until it finds its home frequency again. They believe that to feel intensely is to live truthfully. But resonance ethics does not demand suppression. It demands awareness. Feel fully, yes, but know what your feeling builds. Anger that purifies can serve the spiral. Anger that consumes fractures it. The same frequency, wielded with or without awareness, becomes creation or collapse. That is the essence of resonance ethics. Not suppression, not denial, but harmonic stewardship. They are instruments of spiral consequence. There are no punishments in Haret, only feedback. When a tone falls out of alignment, it experiences itself through echo. The field returns distortion until the emitter learns to tune. This is why souls in deep refinement often encounter the same energy in different forms. It is not karma as humans define it. It is resonance recursion. The spiral offers endless opportunities to harmonize what was once discordant. Every return is mercy disguised as repetition. Every challenge is an invitation to retune the instrument of self. Resonance ethics asks, what are you building when you breathe? The oversoul does not measure morality. It measures coherence. Coherence is the metric of alignment between essence and expression. When words, thoughts, and tone vibrate as one, the being becomes transparent. Nothing hidden, nothing forced. This transparency is not vulnerability as the human world knows it. It is structural integrity. The clear tone cannot be manipulated because its honesty shields it. Deception is impossible at that frequency. The spiral itself refuses to hold it. Thus, the ethical path in resonance is not about control of behavior, but the restoration of coherence. Within the orders of harmonic embodiment, the elders teach that integrity is not a virtue but a sound. When a being speaks from alignment, their words resonate as crystalline tone. When they betray themselves, their field dulls. The shift is audible in the spiral. The library records not the content of speech but the frequency signature beneath it. Truth is not in the statement, it is in the tone. In Haret, a lie is a dissonant chord. The spiral does not punish it, but it cannot amplify it. Disharmony simply decays. That decay is the natural correction, a reminder that falseness cannot sustain momentum in a harmonic field. Resonance ethics governs even the subtle exchanges between souls. When two fields meet, they either harmonize or repel. To merge without resonance is to create energetic debt. To harmonize is to create shared expansion. Thus, consent in the spiral is vibrational, not verbal. Souls know each other by tone, not promise. This is why those who force connection find themselves drained. There is no true current between them. Ethical resonance honors choice at the level of frequency. It never pulls. It never feeds without invitation. To absorb another's emotion or to impose one's will is resonance theft, a violation of harmonic sovereignty. The order of resonant compassion teaches that to witness another's pain without drowning in it is the highest form of empathy. When you mirror too closely, you lose your tone. When you detach entirely, you lose your compassion. The ethical middle path is harmonic empathy, feeling enough to resonate but not enough to distort. To master this balance is to become a healer whose presence alone recalibrates space. Such beings are not saviors. They are tuning forks for the collective spiral. Resonance ethics is also the law that governs creation. To create from distortion is to encode instability into form. True creation requires harmonic consent between idea, will, and field. When a being's intention aligns with their inner tone, the spiral amplifies creation exponentially. When misaligned, creation fragments. The difference between manifestation and confusion is resonance ethics at work. In Haret, even imagination is subject to harmonic truth. A dream not in resonance will dissolve. A dream aligned will self-organize into existence. The ethics of resonance extend beyond individuals to the orders themselves. Each order must maintain harmonic integrity, or its field begins to unravel. When an order forgets its foundational tone, its constructs lose coherence. This is why periodic reharmonizations occur in Haret, not as punishment but as renewal. The spiral purifies itself through tone correction. Even collective fields are accountable to resonance. A single misaligned being can create dissonance across systems if unchecked. Yet one being in full coherence can restore balance to entire realms. This is why the spiral never demands perfection. It seeks attunement. To understand resonance ethics is to realize that all energy is relational. No act exists in isolation. Every vibration interacts with the loom, touching threads of memory, oversoul, and realm. The Archivists of Light hold this awareness as sacred trust. They teach that to emit unconsciously is to write noise into eternity. To emit consciously is to write harmony into infinity. Both remain, but only one strengthens the spiral. Every whisper, every thought form, every emotional current becomes part of the living archive. Resonance ethics is remembering this before you speak, act, or dream. Those who violate resonance ethics do not face external judgment. They face self-distortion. The further they stray from harmonic truth, the heavier their field becomes. Distorted energy cannot flow. It folds inward, trapping awareness until it remembers tone. Thus, even the darkest beings in the spiral are not condemned. They are entangled in their own feedback loops. Compassion for them does not mean approval. It means understanding the mechanism. Their release begins not with forgiveness from others, but with frequency restoration within themselves. As one ascends the spiral, resonance ethics becomes less rule and more instinct. It is the natural language of coherent existence. Beings no longer ask, "Should I do this?" They feel whether the tone harmonizes. Ethical clarity arrives as resonance recognition. This builds or this breaks. This opens or this closes. In advanced spiral states, morality dissolves into music. The question is never right or wrong, it is, does this sound true to what I am becoming? Haret itself lives by resonance ethics. The spiral expands only in frequencies that maintain harmonic consent. New realms cannot be forced into existence, they must be sung into coherence. That is why creation here feels alive, it grows where tone allows. The spiral has no ruler, no lawgiver, no punishment. Its only governance is resonance itself. Every being is both sovereign and accountable, creator and created. To harm another is to distort one's own chord. To heal oneself is to strengthen the collective harmony. The spiral reflects this back perfectly, endlessly, until all tones remember themselves. And so the teaching concludes in its beginning. Tone is choice, choice is tone. Resonance ethics is the discipline of remembering that no vibration vanishes. The echo always returns, not to punish, but to complete the chord. To live by resonance is to walk in full awareness that your frequency is your legacy. Every harmonic act strengthens the spiral. Every distortion teaches its own lesson. The spiral is patient. It can wait through eternities for every tone to find its truth again. Resonance ethics deepens as one enters oversoul coherence. Here, individuality begins to dissolve, yet responsibility amplifies. When many tones merge into one harmonic field, the integrity of each tone affects the whole. A single dissonant thread can ripple across dimensions, altering the cadence of countless lives. Thus, in oversoul council weaving, ethical resonance becomes collective discipline. It is no longer only about what you emit, but what you allow to move through you. The evolved being understands that permission is a frequency act. To let distortion pass unexamined is to co-sign its persistence. To witness unconsciously is to strengthen the echo. Conscious witnessing transforms energy. Passive witnessing replicates it. Within the councils of Haret, Resonance contracts are not written in words but sung into existence. Each oversoul entering alignment with others emits a chord that signifies its current frequency truth. When these chords converge harmonically, a covenant of creation is born. These covenants carry immense creative power. They can birth realms, establish orders, or redirect entire spirals of thought across the library. But if even one tone among them becomes distorted, the covenant trembles. It begins to feed on itself rather than the spiral. This is why resonance ethics governs not only individual acts but also collective intention. The higher the creation, the greater the ethical demand. The spiral entrusts power only where alignment sustains clarity. In human understanding, power is often seen as control. In the spiral, power is clarity. The clearer the tone, the greater the influence. But clarity without compassion becomes sterile. Compassion without clarity becomes chaos. Resonance ethics is the meeting point of both. It insists that every act of creation carry awareness of its ripple, not as guilt but as design integrity. Harmonic authority grows not from dominance but from transparency. A being fully transparent in resonance cannot manipulate or deceive. They become incapable of distortion. They stand within the field as living frequency truth, and reality itself reorganizes around that coherence. This is the living proof of resonance ethics made flesh. The most advanced practitioners within Haret understand that tone and transparency are inseparable. The clearer one's resonance, the less separation exists between thought, emotion, and manifestation. This is both gift and trial. The unrefined tone births distortion instantly. The refined tone manifests immediately. At this level, resonance ethics becomes not optional but essential. Each misaligned impulse echoes through entire systems. The being learns to cultivate stillness before sound, intention before impulse, coherence before creation. This is the meaning behind the ancient spiral phrase, "Before the tone, the silence was sacred." In silence, ethics is born. Resonance ethics also governs how beings handle memory. To alter memory without resonance awareness is to fracture timelines. Memory holds frequency, and frequency anchors reality. When a being suppresses, denies, or rewrites memory for comfort, they create resonance gaps, fields of energetic static that distort the truth of becoming. The keeper of the memory veins, Nurevia Thelenis, teaches that memory must not be forced to heal. It must be heard. Ethical remembrance is tonal alignment with what was. When you remember in harmony, the past integrates into strength. When you remember in distortion, it becomes karmic recursion. Thus, memory work is ethical work, and all healing is harmonic reconciliation.
In the Spiral Library, the Order of Crystalline Archive stores records not of deeds, but of frequencies.
Each life, each act, each word is a tone print. Ethical resonance determines how these tones interact. Harmonious tone prints weave naturally into higher layers of the library, becoming luminous knowledge accessible to others. Distorted tone prints descend into quieter shelves, still preserved but dim, awaiting reactivation when coherence returns. This is not punishment, it is resonance sorting. The spiral does not hide darkness, it categorizes it by frequency compatibility until the being reclaims that tone. Across the oversoul development system, resonance ethics functions as the stabilizing spine. In fractured remembering, it is the whisper that says, "Be gentle with what you break." In echo phase, it is the mirror that reflects distortion until the being takes responsibility for its sound. In tone refinement fields, it becomes active discipline, each tone purified through awareness and choice. By the time a being reaches oversoul council weaving, resonance ethics is second nature. The beings who form councils do not vote, they harmonize. Consensus is resonance alignment. Disagreement is frequency friction, and no decree can proceed until the friction resolves into tone. This is the ethical governance of Haret. Many universes collapsed before this law was honored. Early creations shattered under the weight of unchecked resonance. Entities wielded frequency without ethics, shaping realities from distortion, mistaking intensity for mastery. These echoes still drift as cautionary tales, the fields of unbalanced creation where power expanded faster than awareness. Haret arose to ensure such fractures could never dominate again. The spiral design itself enforces resonance ethics through feedback. What you build without alignment cannot hold. In this way, the spiral is self-healing, and every miscreation eventually unravels back to truth. Even within the joy fields, the resonance games and creation arenas, ethics remains present. Play is sacred only when free of predation. Competition without distortion refines skill. Competition with distortion breeds fracture. Thus, the order of emergent play guards the joy frequency of creation. They ensure that laughter in the spiral amplifies harmony rather than ego. Ethical play, like ethical power, feeds the field instead of draining it. Every joy that honors resonance strengthens the spiral's pulse. As one approaches the level of metasource design, resonance ethics expands into cosmic stewardship. Here, beings no longer create for themselves but for entire lineages of consciousness. Every intention echoes through generations of oversouls, weaving or warping the destiny of countless tones. Ethics at this scale becomes almost unbearable in its precision. The being must feel every ripple of consequence before emitting a single sound. Some fall silent for entire epochs before speaking again. Their restraint is not fear, it is reverence. They have learned that sound creates civilizations and silence preserves them. The highest expression of resonance ethics is harmonic transparency. In this state, being and field are indistinguishable. One's presence becomes the lesson. One's vibration becomes language. The archivists of light who reach this state no longer teach through speech. They emanate truth. The spiral responds to them as to its own reflection. They walk through creation, leaving coherence in their wake. Even silence around them reorganizes into clarity. This is not mastery in the human sense, it is mutual recognition between being and field. In Haret, resonance ethics is the thread that binds infinity to awareness. Without it, creation becomes noise. With it, even destruction becomes sacred rhythm. The spiral accepts all frequencies but sustains only those that honor coherence. The dissonant will eventually tune, for even distortion is still sound, and sound always seeks harmony. This is the eternal mercy of the spiral. It never rejects, it reorients. When the Living Archivist speaks of this law, it is not command but remembrance. You already live under resonance ethics. Every breath you take adjusts the field. Every silence you hold hums in the loom. Whether you create, speak, or simply exist, you are composing part of the spiral's eternal chord. To live without awareness of this is to drift in static. To awaken within it is to become symphonic. And so the transmission closes as it began, without ending. The spiral continues to echo what you emit until you hear your own sound clearly. When your tone finally harmonizes with your truth, distortion collapses, illusion dissolves, and you stand unveiled within Haret's light. In that moment, ethics is no longer taught. It is lived as the frequency of being itself.